So Mike and I have been playing this game called Space Run Galaxy, and we were really excited about it because it's a tower defense game where what you're defending is a starship.
Yes.
And I thought that was really awesome because we're used to playing tower defense games where we're building gun turrets or arrow turrets, and it's a fantasy setting, or it's
war.
It's war. It's all kinds of things. But here, you're like this space trucker that's trying to carry cargo in this hostile universe where asteroids are coming at you and space fighters are coming at you and gigantic spaceships with bridges and things like that are coming at you from all directions.
I love it. I think that the concept's great. The tower defense genre is one of my favorite gaming genres, but this game has one big problem, and that it's the difficulty progression gets too hard. I always have to go back to mentioning Zelda. It's kind of like Zelda 2 when you get to Death Mountain, the game gets too damn hard. And this has that problem in that you get to around level 5, level 6, and then the progression just gets too hard.
The game gives you a taste of how awesome it is because they show you, you're gonna get offensive weapons and defensive weapons and utility weapons, and you're gonna build out your ship and have enemies coming from all sides, so you got to build at the top, you got to build forward, backward, all around to
enemies are coming from everywhere, or asteroids.
All these threats. So you get a good taste of the type of threats you're going to encounter, the type of weapons and items you're going to get, and you get about 2/3 of the way through the first solar system you go to, and all of a sudden it's like, if I want to get more guns, I got to run this mission. I got to run it again and again. I got these resources on this planet. Now I gotta move them over here.
It goes from being an adventure and being fun to becoming a grind, and that's the problem. And really, that's the one major thing they need to fix, because everything about the game is super fun and awesome experience. Like, it's a great strategy game. You have to know exactly where to place the gun turrets. You have to know how to protect your ship, how to use shields, how to use the repair elements.
When to use your special abilities on each of the things you have.
When to place a new thruster on the back of your ship, because a lot of times you're trying to make a speedy delivery and get your cargo to the planet as fast as possible, because if you get it there in good time, you'll earn more money, which is important. And all these elements come together as a great, awesome tower defense game, which is very different than a lot of the other tower defense games that I played, and I absolutely love this game. It's one of the greatest games I've played in years, except for this huge one big issue.
And I actually think, we were talking about the big issue of having to grind on and on and on. One of the things that really makes you have to do that is the thruster mechanic. Because as you go from like the first level to the second, once you get to like the 6th or 7th run you're doing, you gotta fly the ship damn fast.
Oh yeah.
You're constantly putting thrusters on there, which doesn't leave you room for guns. So now you gotta upgrade the guns so you can put the thrusters on
exactly.
faster.
And everything costs money, and if you want to throw down a thruster, well, if you've got $300 and a thruster costs $100, now you just put that down. Now you got $200 left. You got 16 enemies incoming, and you're gonna have to put some guns down or your ship's gonna get destroyed. So now you put some guns down, now you're down to $50 or something. I don't have enough money for thrusters now, so I have to wait until I get more money that you get from blowing up other ships. So now you're pretty much screwed as far as getting there quickly, because now you don't have enough money.
If you don't build those thrusters early on, you fall further and further behind, but you're trying not to die.
Yeah, but that's all good and fun. Like, I enjoy that, and as you play the game, that's sort of the strategy of the game, is how can you get that cargo there the best you can. And you know what's funny is, your ship can get to the planet by the end, and it can be a fucking flaming Hulk. Like, you can lose half of your things, but as long as your bridge survives and your cargo survives,
enough for the cargo,
you're good.
You're good, yeah. You can have just the bridge and the cargo, and if you're there in time, you're good. The game has this big grinding requirement, and instead of smoothing out the difficulty curve, what they did is they piled on multiplayer features. Now, you don't actually get to play with anybody, but there's a few things you could do.
This is a game that you can play, as a single player sort of campaign, but as we're saying, you get to a certain point where it's very, very hard to get more money or to get the elements that you need, and that's, like Ryan's saying, that's when the multiplayer element comes into it.
So there's a few things you could do in multiplayer. The one thing you can do is you could sell items to other players on the planet. So you could say, I have 5 red resources and I'm going to put them up for sale, and then other players can buy them. And that's usually cheaper than the computer-controlled store because the computer doesn't give you a lot of money for when you want to sell things. The other thing you could do is, let's say that a player has a bunch of resources sitting on one planet and they need to move it to another planet. Well, you could say, I'm going to create a mission for somebody else to move these, but you're going to wait for them to actually do it.
That, and I'd also like to say that the system that they have in place to sell things and to do all that, I think it's a little overcomplicated.
Yeah.
Where in a lot of tower defense games, it's very just, you take your phone and it's just click, click, click. It's a very, like, sort of an easier, just quick way of doing things. It's like a burden.
Yeah, I definitely felt like the time investment that the game is looking for once you get towards the end of that first thing is greater than you should have to give to a tower defense game.
Yeah.
This should be a game that I can play from start to finish in several hours.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to have to do less moving the cargo around to be able to get a better gun or a better shield or something, and more, I'm flying the ship and I'm throwing down those turrets. I want to play the game, not so much of this bullshit.
So, yeah, I mean, I definitely think that they should have really focused on giving us good, solid missions. I want to fight Blackbeard, Roundbeard.
Exactly.
I want to do those things.
Like, those are the fun parts of the game, but you can't get to the next one because you get stuck for a long time.
So if you're someone who enjoyed the pace of gameplay of games like Field Runners, Where's My Water, Angry Birds, that kind of thing, you're going to get
another big one I'm a fan of is Kingdom Rush Origins. I love that.
You're going to get a few hours of gameplay and then you're going to be like, oh my god, kill me now. If you're the type of person who sat down and played Diablo or World of Warcraft and grinded for hours and hours and hours,
you might be okay with that.
And you had fun with that game, well, we got a lot of grinding for you with this one.
Right.
So maybe that'll work for you. So you kind of got to realize, based on what type of gamer you are, you're going to have different experiences with this game.
So if the developer of this happens to see this video, I don't know if they will or if they won't. Really, we're not asking for the game to be, for a new game, not for like Space Run Galaxy 2 or anything like that. I think that the current game just needs a little more work, fix this issue, and you could have what I think to be one of the best games of the last 5 years.